So, hello everyone. Welcome back to another Buckner Project video from Financial Literacy. This time we're going to be talking about public finance and government spending. With me, I have two wonderful guests today from the Greenhill School in Addison, Texas. Aaron Johnson and Chris Demas. Welcome.
Hello, welcome.
All right, we're going to start off with an activity. So we're flipping the script, if you will, and we're starting where we usually end. So I want you guys to pitch in with someone you know, your friend, your sibling, your parent, and get something. It can be something small, something big. Just pitch in together and get something. And this is how the government works. And this is going to bring us into how government spending works. So let's say you go get a chocolate or a ball with one of your friends. You two are splitting the money and paying for something bigger. Now, you're paying for something bigger is like what the government does. They take everyone's collective taxes, which you talked about in a prior video, and they pay for stuff like infrastructure, which is you can remember it like the structure of our country. It's the roads, it's the train railroads, it's the 5G towers, it's all of that stuff that builds up our country. And you can remember it by structure of America. That's one of our definitions. So say structure of America for infrastructure. So that's your activity. That should be something fun you can do at home. And then another way you can think about it is really just any type of pooling together. So let's say you guys have a fantasy football league and you all put in like $5 and whoever wins it. That's kind of like how the government works. You all put it in together and they spend it at the end to benefit the whole. Now, Chris, tell me more about government spending.
The government takes taxpayer money and then funnels them into different expenditures, like, for instance...
Chris, what's an expenditure?
An expenditure? Well, it's anything that the government spends money on, whether it's a certain field, like we have STEM research, for instance, funded schools, education, Social Security, and the defense budget, which is a large chunk of the country's finance.
Yeah.
We have healthcare and other things like transportation and that's it. Yep, that's it.
So break down this graph for me. What am I seeing here?
Are you gonna show the graph in the video?
It's there.
Okay.
It's on. I'm sharing my screen so you people can see it.
Well, so for instance, a figure you may have heard of, in the year, I believe it was 2019, the United States government released their spending, their log of all of the expenditures that were made with taxpayer money. And one big noticeable field that they spent a lot of money on was the defense budget, which goes into things like the military, armaments, bases, some education, I believe. I don't know if Army and Navy schools are sponsored by that or not, but basically $709, give or take, $1 billion.
That's a lot. How can, to put that in perspective, how much is $1 billion compared to like $1 million or 1,000?
Well, say you have a grain of rice. Say you have a grain.
One grain of rice.
That grain of rice is worth $350 billion. So if you had two of those, that's how much $700 billion is.
So that's so $1 billion is 1 million 1 millions. That's a whole lot to wrap your brain around. That's a lot of money we're spending. How much does the government spend as a whole? Like, how much are we spending, like, total?
How much are we spending total?
Yeah.
I believe somewhere in the range of, was it 2.2 trillion?
$4.4 trillion in 2019.
Quite a few buckaroos.
4.4 trillion. That's a lot. That's a lot.
That's even more than $1 million.
That's like, now that's actually 1 million millions. That's not 1,000.
Oh yeah. I'm sorry, I confused my math. Edit that out. It's 1,001 millions now that I think about it. But that's still a lot. 1,001 millions. Like that's hard to come by. That's hard to come by. How do you guys think the government chooses to spend this money? I'm asking the people at home. How do you think they come up with these complex, large numbers? Well, it's actually broken down into a chart. And this chart kind of gets into macroeconomics, which is way too complicated. So I'm just going to try to break it down. So they're trying to find the middle between social sacrifice, which is spending too much money for random things, and social benefit. And once they find the middle for that, they find out how much they should spend, which is why they come up with this 4.4 trillion number. That's how they come up with that. Aaron, what are some definitions we should remember for this week?
Well, we might have said a lot of rigmarole that you guys have not understood. So here's some definitions. Expenditure is the money spent by the government on social programs like finding the balance. Welfare is a social
Aaron,
safety
can you
net.
explain finding the balance? Like what is the balance we're trying to find?
Well, we're trying to find the balance between different programs to spend money on. So if you spend too much money on
the balance we talked about between social sacrifice and social benefit, right?
Exactly. Yep.
And what's one of the social programs that we may spend this money on?
Social Security. That's one big program that our government has spent a lot of money on.
What do you think the broader thing is for it? Could it be another definition?
Oh, yep. Welfare, which is a social safety net. And then we'll go back to the one Lincoln said earlier, infrastructure, which is, say it at home, everybody, think of a structure for the country. Yeah.
Structure of America. That's infrastructure. That's how you guys are going to remember infrastructure.
If you don't mind me butting in, you may know some public welfare systems like EBT, also known as food stamps.
Public
projects and stuff.
All right, so that's all good and dandy, but how does that affect you guys' lives? Like, how is government spending going to affect your life? Well, actually, it plays a really big part. So remember taxes we talked about a few weeks down? So taxes are what go into government spending. So the amount of taxes you pay determine the amount that we spend as a whole. And so it really has a big deal in your lives and everyone's lives at some point, because once we start paying taxes, we should care about where the money is going to and how it's being spent. So this is a very important topic, and you should really care about how the government is spending money. Now, that's all we have for the Buckner Project Week 8. Thank you guys so much for supporting us. Let us know any feedback you have. Send that out. And, thank you guys. Have a great weekend.